the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, who was also the keynote speaker at Bloomberg's The Future of Global Financial Centers, the new Miami. And I think the new Miami, that says it all. Mr. Mayor, you've obviously been trying to sort of reimagine, or at least get people to reimagine what they think of Miami, not just a place to come and party and vacation, but a place to live, to work, and I guess to build a business. How are you doing with regards to attracting more of those businesses to set up shop in Miami?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I am not from Chicago. I've only been to Chicago once, so I break the streak there. I'm 44 years old, and I'm the father of two, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I understood 10 years ago that for any city to survive and to thrive, they have to get in the knowledge-based economy. They have to grow their tech ecosystem. So the idea of making Miami a crypto city was something that happened recently, but it's been really a 10-year build. Almost think of us as a small business that started bootstrapped, friends and family money, building an ecosystem 10 years ago. And then about a year ago, almost to the day, actually it's tomorrow to the day, I put out a tweet in response to someone who said, what if we move Silicon Valley to Miami? And I said, how can I help? And that counter narrative of inviting innovators, creators, and builders to our city is something that was not happening in other parts of the country. Famously, obviously in New York, you had HQ2 for Amazon that left. You had in San Francisco a councilwoman saying F Elon Musk, and him replying famously, message received, and moving to Austin. And so I think that the fact that you had a mayor that was inviting innovation to their city was unusual. And then when you couple it with, as you said, the pandemic, remote work, and all these different phenomenons where you didn't have to be physically anywhere, and people like Ken Griffin, who you just mentioned, prove that you can be in West Palm Beach and be just as effective as if you were in other parts of the country. So that has created what I call a FlyMo effect, which is sort of a fear of missing out and flywheel effect combined. And we've probably made about a 10-year progression in about 10 months.
What's so fascinating, Mayor, is you're also putting your money where your mouth is. You're planning to accept salary in Bitcoin. It's rather interesting that the new mayor-elect here, Eric Adams, is saying he'll do the same thing. When I questioned him on that, he was sort of saying that actually it's quite hard to directly accept your paychecks in Bitcoin. You have to accept it in dollars and then transfer it. How is the progression of how you're accepting your first few paychecks?
Well, Mayor-elect Adams, who's going to be mayor now on January 1st, has become a friend, and we joke with each other and kid each other all the time. And so maybe it's difficult for him to do it. It's very easy for me to do it. So I don't know if there's a generational thing there or something's going on. But
fine words.
We use an app called Strike. And that allows us to convert it instantly. So it's like a direct deposit feature. So it actually directly deposits the money into a digital wallet. And so it's very easy for us to do. And I'm doing it with a variety of different cryptocurrencies on my mayoral salary. And I think, things like putting the Satoshi white paper on our website. We're the first city in the country to do that. Paying our employees in Bitcoin. We've already paid multiple employees in Bitcoin, including myself. Allowing our residents to pay for fees and taxes in Bitcoin. And then, of course, the Miami coin, which now created a New York coin after the Miami coin, which has generated $30 million in revenue in 3 months from the mining revenue that gets put into our digital wallet. We're staking that, and we're going to give every one of our citizens a Bitcoin dividend on a quarterly basis. So not only they're going to have money in their pocket from innovation of the city, but they're going to learn about Bitcoin as well.
Mayor, talk to me from a big picture perspective. A lot of critics would say, okay, the appeal is cost of living, it's the good weather, it's low taxes, right? But eventually, with the flock of people, you're going to need to get better housing, get better schools, fix the roads, fix the bridges. With that is going to eventually become higher taxes. And it's just going to be this revolving circle. What is the case really that you can make to stand out for the long term?
I'm laughing because I love when a sentence begins to critics say, right, ... But for us, it's actually been a completely different story. We've reduced taxes to the second lowest level since the 1960s. Obviously, we don't have a state income tax, and our budget has doubled in size. So the people who think that you have to raise taxes to increase the size of your budget are completely wrong. The more you increase taxes, the more people are going to flee, which is what we're seeing in some of these high tax states. And then you're going to lose revenue, which is going to create a budget hole. It becomes sort of a vicious cycle. So for us, we've seen the exact opposite scenario. By having more revenue in our coffers, by reducing taxes, now we've been able to increase policing while many cities across America have defunded their police. And guess what happened? I know it's going to shock you. Crime went down in the city. So while the murder rate is going up across America, it's actually decreasing in the city of Miami. So we're starting to see these counter narratives. And what I want to do in January, I become the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I'll be president of all the mayors in the United States. And I want to work with mayors like Mayor Adams and others to create an agenda for America that is nonpartisan or bipartisan, that is really focused on making American cities work. 85% of the population of America is in cities, and 91% of the GDP of America is in cities. So we can make American cities work. We can make America work for the foreseeable future.
All right. Well, we only have about a minute left here. I am curious about just the competitive nature now. I mean, you joke about your relationship with Eric Adams, the incoming mayor here in New York, but we're starting to see a lot of other cities, not just New York, start to take a little bit more progressive mindset with regards to how they attract businesses, what they offer to these businesses. Is there a sense here that if there's so many mayors, trying to do the same thing, that then it creates a situation where these companies then have a little bit more power as to where they can go, and they may not necessarily end up in Miami?
Well, I think there's no doubt that it's a competitive environment, and there's no doubt that every city should want to fight for the largest share of the pie in terms of a tech ecosystem. But you also see, other countries making huge mistakes from my perspective, like China, that banned Bitcoin mining and banned Bitcoin because it obviously can't control it. And so that's an enormous opportunity for the United States to become a mining powerhouse and to do it in a carbon neutral fashion.